Good morning. I am Reverend Elea Kemler, minister of First Parish Church.
And I am Li Kynvi.
We have the church bell coming from somewhere.
We have multiple.
Maybe it's outside the window. Okay, we're going to start over. Good morning. I am Reverend Elea Kemler, minister of First Parish Church of Groton, Massachusetts. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Li Kynvi. I'm the intern minister here. I use they, them pronouns. We are so glad you're here.
It's a good thing. Our service theme is play this
It's a very good thing.
The technology has started playing with us. We are a community seeking to deepen spiritually, to take care of one another, and to be a blessing to this world. Unitarian Universalism is a faith for all. So whoever you are, whatever country you come from, whoever you love, whatever you've done, whatever your abilities, challenges, or gifts, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here in this virtual, at the moment, but also very real community.
So welcome to the Minister's Study. Elea and I are fully vaccinated and so grateful to be able to safely lead worship together. Members of our Welcoming All group are there with you on the YouTube chat. If you're here on Sunday mornings, they'd love to say hello to you by name. So if you feel like greeting them, please feel free. If you would like more information about anything about First Parish, our programs, we have small groups, we have events, we have summer services coming up, just email welcome@uugroton.org and we will get you connected. As we mentioned, today's service is all about celebrating play. So we're going to start with some playful words by Reverend Scott Taylor. We are all playing it up, playing it down, trying to play fair, playing for keeps, playing favorites, playing it safe, sometimes too safe. He plays hardball. They're playing house. I'm playing it by ear, or at least learning to play it by ear. She's tired of playing second fiddle. He's playing right into their hands. Please, God, can't we all just throw out the playbook and start again? Sometimes we're just played out. It's not always bad to play possum. And what about playing with fire? Let's hope so, friends. Don't you want to feel again that burning within and let it loose? In this moment, may it begin.
May it begin. So thank you to those contributing to today's service, as always, to Sean McCann, Director of Music Ministries at First Parish, as well as the musical group Carousing, who you will hear during the postlude. Our sanctuary is not confined to the building. We are creating it for real, right here and right now. While we plan to return to our sacred old meeting house in September, our online worship presence will continue. So whether you are here or on Sunday morning or at another time, come on in, rest for a while, receive hope and strength. You are so welcome here. So as has become our tradition, I will ring the meditation bell and invite you to take 3 long, slow, deep breaths. I invite you to consider each breath and each ring of the bell an invitation to become quieter within yourself and to make a little space for this moment. So this first one is for you. And the second bell and the second breath is for all of our loved ones. And the third bell and the third breath is for the healing of our world.
We're lighting our chalice this morning, which is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with these words. I light this chalice for playfulness across all ages, for delight and enjoyment of this moment, for all that is spontaneous, fresh, disarming. After experiencing the tragedies and complexities and pain of life, the homecoming to the self that is playfulness just might be our most hard-won achievement. To playfulness.
And so now we will sing together Spirit of Life by Carolyn McDade. We sing it first in Spanish, translated by Lillian Cuervo and Ervin Barrios, and then in English. There's a link to the words in the description box, and I hope that you will sing along with us.
Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí y al corazón, cántale tu compasión, sopla a volar, sube en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Ayúdame, libérame, fuente de amor, ven a mí, ven a mí. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
All right. So this is our time for talking to the children for a little bit. We're going to say our words for gathering together first. Say them with me and we'll do the hand motions, okay? So we are Unitarian Universalists with minds that think, hearts that love, and hands ready to help. I made us a video story this morning. So I'm going to let my video story introduce itself. Welcome to my office. I am going to show you around a little bit. This is my office. I really love to play. And one of the many ways I do that is with all of these miniatures and sandboxes. I have miniatures representing everything I can think of from the real and imaginary worlds. I like working with hands and in the world of symbols, and playing without thinking is sort of like
letting my dreams and imagination show up, but I can see them and I can think about them later and I can move them around. Usually I just pick up anything that calls to me from these shelves and I gather it all together and I bring it over to the table, to the sandboxes, and I see what happens. Something interesting always happens as I create my own microcosms, my own worlds and scenes. Those are the sandboxes. The one on the left, the sand sort of sticks together, and on this one on the right, the sand is much more fluid and it flows through the fingers. Today I'm going to use the sandboxes to tell this story called Animal School by George Reavis. He was the assistant superintendent of Cincinnati Public Schools in the 1940s. Many years ago, some animal parents got together and decided they wanted to start a school for their children. Up until that time, it had been the responsibility of the parents to teach their children the skills they all needed to know. But these parents wanted their children to learn from professional teachers, so they organized a school and they hired a staff. The teachers met and decided to provide a standardized educational curriculum to their animal students. They adopted an educational curriculum consisting of swimming, running, flying, and climbing. All the animals took all the subjects because it was important to them that no child be left behind. To ensure that the students were progressing satisfactorily, standardized achievement tests were administered to all students. Here's what happened. The ducks were excellent in swimming. In fact, the ducks were better than their teacher. But some of the ducks only made passing grades in flying. And all the ducks were very poor in running. Since they were so slow in running, they had to stay after school for remedial running practice. And they had to drop swimming in order to practice running during their swimming class time. This was kept up until all the ducks' webbed feet were very sore, and the ducks were so tired that soon they were only average in swimming. But average was acceptable in school, so nobody worried about that. Except the ducks. And climbing for the ducks? Yeah, no, not so much. In running, the cats started at the top of their class. But the teachers were very concerned with the cat's tendency to lie down and snuggle and take a rest and have a bath. The cats got passing grades in climbing trees, but not in coming back down. And oh my goodness, the cats were not good at swimming. The cats had to stay after school and spend so much time in remedial swimming class. A lot of them developed some pretty severe fur problems because they were having to spend so much time in the pond. The parents got them a coach who did their best, but, they were just never going to be A students. And the cats failed flying. The squirrels were most excellent at climbing. In fact, they were the best students at climbing a standardized tree. But the squirrels wanted to fly by first climbing the trees, then spreading their paws and gliding down, which is how they do it. But in flying class, the teacher made them start on the ground, and the squirrels were not mastering the course material. So every day, the squirrels had therapy. A flying therapist took the squirrels and made them do front paw exercises to strengthen their muscles and practice learning to fly the right way. The squirrels' paws hurt so much from this overexertion
that some of them only got a C in climbing. Some of the squirrels failed climbing altogether. And this is what happened with the squirrels in running class. Yeah. And maybe you can guess what happened in swimming class. The owls were total, definite problem children. In climbing class, the owls beat all the others to the top of the tree, but they insisted on using their own way to get there, and they were very stubborn about it. The owl said that clearly it was the goal that mattered, and it was quite right for owls to get to the treetop by flying. Owls received top marks and gold stars and scholarships in their flying class. Everyone else was made to study what they did and try to emulate them. Unfortunately, the owl lost the scholarship because they refused to get in the pond. And the owls wouldn't even land in running class. So how do you think the story ends? Are we still asking some squirrel kids to fly starting on the ground? Are there still cat children in remedial swim class? And what about the occasional cat who loves to swim and play in the water? How can we help cats continue to love playing in the water? Hopefully we learn that every squirrel is a perfectly wonderful squirrel. And ducks need to swim and play in the water without worrying about running. Just doesn't work to try and compare us to each other. We gotta be ourselves to be happy. I hope you enjoyed that. And for those of you who are local, please know that you're welcome to contact me and come play in the sand with me. It's part of why I have my office set up like it is. I'm absolutely excited about vaccinated people hanging out there with me. I'm going to do a little silly, playful, wonderful, fanciful song from a wonderful trio that some of you older folks will recognize called Peter, Paul, and Mary. This is Autumn to May. Once I had a little dog. His color, it was brown. I taught him to whistle, to sing and dance and run. His legs, they were 14 yards long, his ears so very wide. Around the world in half a day, upon him I could ride. Sing, Terry-o-day, sing, autumn to May. Once I had a little frog, he wore a vest of red. He'd lean upon his silver cane, top hat on his head. He'd speak of far-off places, of things to see and do, of all the kings and queens he'd met while sailing in a shoe. Sing, Terry-o-day, sing, autumn to May. And once I had a flock of sheep that grazed upon a feather. I'd keep them in a music box from wind and rainy weather. And every day the sun would shine, they'd all fly through the town to bring me back some golden rings and candy by the pound. Yum! Sing, Terry-o-day, sing, autumn to May. Once I had a downy swan, she was so very frail. She sat upon an oyster shell and hatched me out a snail. The snail it changed into a bird, the bird to butterfly, and he who tells a bigger tale would have to tell a lie. Sing, Terry-o-day, sing, autumn to May. Sing, Terry-o-day, sing, autumn to May. So cute. It's a sweet song.
So let's enter together a spirit of meditation and prayer. And I invite you to take some deep breaths and settle into yourself. And I'll pause twice during this time with a little bit of singing. And if you are here with us on Sunday morning, I invite you to share in the chat first your sorrows or concerns or worries or anything that weighs heavy on your heart. And the second pause, there is an invitation to share your joys, your good news, your milestones, and your gratitude. So listen to the words of the poet Mary Oliver. This poem is called The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last, and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? So in the presence of this strong and tender community where we are invited to pay attention, to pay deep attention to our own hearts and to the gorgeousness of this world around us. And in the shelter of this life-giving faith we share, let us open our hearts to each other across time and distance and pray for all who are sick or hurt in body or mind or spirit, for all who are grieving and for all who are in need of any kind. And within our First Parish community, we send prayers to those with ongoing and serious health challenges, to Irv's brother Tom, to Carol Swift's sister Lois, to Wendy and Christopher and Doris. And we just got the news from the Epstein family that Bruce's mother died on June 2nd after emergency surgery. So let us hold them all in love. And if you are here with us on Sunday morning, I invite you to share what is on your heart in the chat. Share what you are carrying that feels too heavy, and let us hold it with you. And if you're with us at another time, I encourage you to name those things for yourself and to remember the strength and the loving presence of this community. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There now let us share our joy. This week in our community, we share with Nancy and Marcel the celebration and joy that their son Benjamin has earned his doctoral degree in educational leadership. And June is Gay Pride Month, and we give thanks for all our LGBTQ siblings, for all of our siblings of the rainbow, surviving, living life out in the open with pride. We give special thanks for our youth who show us the way. And we pray for all who are still struggling to survive and to be themselves without fear or consequences. And what are you feeling grateful for? What is bringing you joy or delight? Share it in the chat so that we can rejoice and be grateful alongside you, or name it out loud to yourself. There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love. There is ample, spacious grace here for all that we hold. So let us rest in love and know that we are beloved. We are enough. And may that love move through us and into the world in the week ahead. Amen. So this next song is called Leave Time by the UU minister and songwriter Dan Schatz. And as we enter this summer season and emerge from this pandemic, this song is a reminder, and I hope it feels like a gift.
Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. Come sit by my side and share a story, one of a love too deep to find, one of a sailor wending homeward, one of the echo of your mind. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. After the hurry comes the harbor. After the journey comes the rest. great rushing or the rushing of waters, through fields lined with furrows, banks and nests. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. May all your travels bring you comfort. May all your loving give you some. May all your learnings leave you open. May all your rambles lead you home. Leave time for the turning of the season. Leave time for the longing of the day. Time for the heart, time for the reason. Time for the quiet of the way. Time for the quiet of the way.
Thank you, Dan. So a couple of announcements. First, I hope you'll take a second to hit the like button, which helps others who are in need of a religious community such as ours to find us on the internet. Everyone is encouraged to attend Coffee and Conversation on Zoom following the postlude music. It lasts for about 30 minutes and the Zoom link will be on your screen. If you are local, please come to our weekly vigil for Black Lives today and every Sunday afternoon from 1 to 2 o'clock on Main Street along the Church Common. Our witness continues to be needed and important, so please join us today with sunscreen, sun hats, and lots of water because it is super hot. Next Sunday, June 13th, we will be celebrating our graduating seniors called Bridgers in our community, and we would love to include your words of blessing, wisdom, support, or advice for our Bridgers in 6 words or less. Remember those 6-word pandemic memoirs we did earlier? This is your chance to do it again. So please send your 6 words for our Bridgers to the office, and you can send them to office@uugroton.org. That's office@uugroton.org. We're having an in-person event next Sunday, also June 13th, Cookies on the Common from 2 to 4 o'clock, so right after the Black Lives Matter vigil. So all ages are welcome, families and children are especially welcome. We'll have some games, some music, some cookies, a chance to practice being together in all dimensions again. The Welcoming All group who's creating this event, and Lee and I hope that you will come. We cannot wait to see you there. And finally, the well-being and work of this congregation depends upon our continued generosity. Our generosity of spirit creates the foundation of this community, and our financial generosity allows us to continue our work, which is to deepen spiritually, to take care of each other, excuse me, and to be a blessing to this world. Donations in any amount can be made on the church website, www.uugroton.org. Deepest gratitude for the generosity that connects us to each other and to the world. So this morning, as we turn into summer and the end of our pandemic church year and a half, our theme is play. It has been a really serious time. And even as the pandemic rages on in some parts of the world, it is ending here. And we are getting vaccinated, thanks be to God, and we are emerging. That is the best word I can think for it, emerging. Coming out like bears from winter hibernation, blinking into the sunshine, maybe slightly disoriented and a little wobbly on our legs. And many of us are starving for connection, to see our people again, to rejoice in reunions and dinners in restaurants. And some of us are also anxious and uncertain. Is it safe? Is it really safe? Do I need to wear a mask? What is everyone else doing? We are a people of faith who believe in science, and following its guidance is one of our 6 sources. It is one of the foundations of the Unitarian Universalist faith. And maybe for the first time in my memory, for some of us, we are finding ourselves not quite trusting the science around COVID, or at least wanting to hedge our bets in case things change again or the science turns out to be wrong. It is an anxious and awkward time, kind of like we have all been returned to the 6th grade, but we will come through it, just like we all came through the 6th grade. We will find our sea legs again and get comfortable in this changed world. And in the meantime, we need to tend to our souls. As Dan Schatz puts it so beautifully, we need time. We need to leave time for the turning of the season, leave time for the longing of the day, time for the heart, time for the reason, time for the quiet of the way. And we need time to play too. Unfortunately, play is not something I know a great deal about. Reason number 4,567, I am so glad we have Li here, an intern minister who is an expert at play and can fill in some of my gaps. I am learning to play as I get older, and I think I become more playful with every passing year, and especially since I married someone who has the Three Stooges theme song as the ringtone on his phone. But I was a pretty serious and somber child. I have a vivid memory of being in preschool, so I was probably 3, maybe 4 years old, and we were sitting on our tiny chairs in a circle, and the preschool teacher was leading us in song time on her guitar, which I loved. But this day, she had us all get up from our chairs and dance in a circle around the chairs while she played. I stayed in my chair, utterly still, while the rest of the kids danced. And after the first song, she asked me why I wasn't dancing. And I answered, I am much too old for that. Fortunately, I'm getting younger, but play doesn't come easily to me. The Unitarian Universalist minister Wallace Robbins said that sermons on play should not be given by human preachers, which I guess is a lucky thing for me. He said they should be given by foxes. I've told you this story of his before, I know, but it's one worth hearing again. He writes, one summer morning early, we saw 2 foxes in our backyard. They were in their long black stockings and had their ears done up perkily and wore flowing plumes for tails. They were hunting mice with the grace of fencers, dancing backward and forward, lunging and pouncing. Poor creatures, I thought, always hungry, always hunting. The female seemed nervous as she observed the male partner going bravely into strange nooks and corners of the garden and field. He stood by the blueberry bushes and sniffed, listened, tightened up, ready for the mouse catch. She came up quietly behind him. Timidly, it appeared to us, warily, until she had reached his flank. And then she bit him right on the behind. He exploded with all of the force of his coiled body straight up into the air. And when he came down, he took out after her, and they ran in circles, jumped over each other to avoid collisions as they swirled through the garden. Poor creatures. They were full of wit and practical jokes, playing like children. Wallace Robbins writes, time does not go slowly for foxes, I think. Their happiness lies close to their hunger. Their serious intent is blessed with companionship and uproarious joy. At summer's end, I went to church and I heard a preacher talk about duty and hard work. I preferred the sermon of the foxes. The foxes find pleasure and play in their hunting and stalking and pouncing. They find joy in what they have to do to stay alive. Their work is intertwined with play. I believe that most of us humans probably also need to learn to intertwine our happiness and our hunger in the way of the foxes. More of us could probably benefit from playing more and working less, especially right now. But even more important is nurturing a spirit of playfulness, nurturing lightness and even joy in our lives again. I sometimes ask the Thursday morning coffee and conversation crew to help me think about my sermon. And this week we talked about play. And all of us agreed that playfulness was more important than playing to us. And that while we had things we loved to do in our lives that were not work, reading and gardening and canoeing and walking, how we feel, how we do the thing matters probably more than what we are doing. That almost anything can feel like work and almost anything can feel like play. And that playfulness is about feeling free, about feeling connected to ourselves and others, feeling spontaneous and uninhibited. Nature is one of the best teachers of playfulness. And so are children and grandchildren. As Roger Borland puts it, let us arrive as children to this huge playground, the universe. And poets are good teachers of playfulness too. Mary Oliver writes, "The dream of my life is to lie down by a slow river and to stare at the light in the trees, to learn something by being nothing for a little while. It is time for us to lie down by slow rivers, to watch the light, to let ourselves do as much of nothing as possible so that we can find our joy and our playfulness again. The challenges of this time will absolutely continue, and the need for all of our important work will continue too, but we cannot continue without rest and play. We need time to let things settle in this new post-pandemic world and our post-pandemic selves. And mostly we need to rest in the beauty of this world, in the beauty of this fleeting, so brief summer. We need to take ourselves to water, to sit under the blue sky and feel the sun, to sit on the porch or the front stoop in the morning and listen to the riotous joy of birdsong. In one of my favorite poems, Lynn Unger writes about the camas lilies. She writes, "Consider the lilies of the field, the blue banks of camas opening into acres of sky along the road. Would the longing to lie down and be washed by that beauty abate if you knew of their usefulness? How the natives ground their bulbs for flour and how the settlers' hogs uprooted them, grunting in gleeful oblivion as the blue flowers fell. And you, what of your rushed and useful life? Imagine setting it all down. Papers, plans, appointments, everything. Leaving only a note. Gone to the fields to be lovely. Be back when I'm through blooming. Even now, the camas lilies gaze out above the grass from their tender blue eyes. Even in sleep, your life will shine. If I could, I would give each one of you a field full of blue camas lilies to help you remember that your belovedness does not depend upon what you do, and that your shining comes from the inside, and that we must, all of us, go out into the fields, leave our houses and our Zoom screens and our unfinished lists behind, and go lie down in the grass and take care of our souls. So Li is going to join now for our closing song.
Sort of in honor of a little bit of Pride Month here, we decided to do we have to adjust our position.
Better?
Is that better? Are we both there?
Good.
Stay this way.
All right, lean into the guitar. We decided to do a playful song by, one of the early out lesbian singer-songwriters, Chris Williamson. I cannot overestimate how important these folks were to me. Alex Dobkin and Holly Near and Chris Williamson and the Flirtations, and just so important that people standing up and being out and who they were. And there weren't role models available in other public settings at the time. So this is Chris's song, Song of the Soul, which I think we both learned in the mid to late 80s. Yeah. In that case, it had already been out for 12 years, but it was just absolutely vibrant. It starts off, interestingly, with a little bit of a hymn. Open my eye.
Like, hey, let me get the right note. D. Okay, I'll get there.
No worries.
Open my eyes that I might see glimpses of truth thou hast for me. Open my eyes, illumine me, Spirit divine. Love of my life, I am crying, I am not dying, I am dancing, dancing along in the madness. There is no sadness, only a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. What do you do for your living? Are you forgiving, giving shelter? Follow your heart, love will find you, truth will unbind you. Seek out a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Come to your life like a warrior, nothing will bore ya. You can be happy. Let in the light, it will heal you, and you can feel you. Sing out a song of the soul, and we'll sing this song. Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time. Why don't you sing this song? Why don't you sing along? And we can sing for a long, long time.
Woohoo! That song is still so good.
So good.
So please join us for coffee and conversation following the postlude music, which is by the group Carusin. Li and I will be there, and we would love to greet you there. But for now, will you put one hand on your heart, and with the other, let's reach out to one another and know that we are connected, we are woven together by strong and sturdy threads of love.
Go in peace. Be a blessing to this world.
Amen.